Hey everyone, just a quick and dirty tutorial on single planet P2 production for your PI. This video is going to assume that you have some knowledge about PI and why we do it. So the reason that we do a single planet P2 setup is it is less time consuming. So it requires less clicking on your part. There's no shuffling around of products. So like in the 4-in-1 extraction and factory planet setup, you have to move your P1 to your factory planet. So there's some hazards there, there's some time consumption. So with the single planet P2, there's none of that. You would literally just swing by and pick up your end result and sell it directly to your buyer or to the market. Additionally, P2 is relatively small when you grab it, so unlike P1 where it's really bulky, you have to move it over to the factory planet in a big hauler. P2 is pretty small, you can pick it up in your blockade room. So if you choose the right P2, it is possible to plex your account, which is what makes this so valuable. It is minimum effort with meeting the requirements to plex your account. So it's great passive income. So I'll show you the ideal that we're going for. So this is what we're trying to set up on our planet. We have 2 extractors pulling the resources necessary to produce our P2 product. We have advanced factories producing the actual P2, and basic factories processing the P0 to the P1, which then gets fed into the advanced factory for the P2. So we are going to be using a single storage in the form of our spaceport rather than multiple storages like we have in our other diagrams. So rather than multiple storages, we're going to be using just the spaceport. And when you run out of space in the spaceport, you actually just ship it up to the POCO. It's got 35,000 storage. It's basically 3 storage bins in one. So I'm going to show you our existing setup real quick. So this is one in operation. Now, wherever you plop down your command center is where the camera is going to focus when you initially open up your planet. So you want to drop that near the resources you're going to be using. So we are producing mechanical parts on this planet. So we want to be near to base metals and noble metals. So that's what we've done. We've dropped our command center around there. Then we've put our setup smack dab in the middle of the 2 resources we're going to be extracting. And we've extended these arms out towards those resources to minimize the length of those links. So it increases our available CPU and power grid. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set up a new colony. So we are going to choose another barren planet, open up our planetary production. So now this is the same sort of planet we're going to be doing mechanical parts. So we want base metals and we want noble metals. Ooh, look at that. Already there's some nice deposits close by here. So I'm going to center the camera, get us in between. Nice. See that? That there and this here. Perfect. Alright, so we're going to drop our command center. Submit. I'm going to upgrade it. Now I'm doing all this with just 4 skills. So planetary upgrades 4, planetary consolidation 4, and I'm able to plex my account with that. So we're going to submit. Remember to always submit your changes. Now, we are going to do the same thing. We're going to drop our launch pad right in between these. I'm thinking right here. Launch pad. Submit. And now, like in this diagram, we're going to use the factories to extend the arms towards those resources. So we're going to start with our advanced factory. And we're going to have a 3rd arm going off in another direction. Then 2 basic factories to process our P0 to P1. It's always hard to get it exact. There we go. Find another one. There we go. And then our extractors. We're going to add the extractors right away so that we know in advance how much CPU and power grid we're going to have available. So one thing that I do different with this setup is I actually do both extractors simultaneously. So you can see we're linking everything, we laid everything out in advance, then we're going to submit. So up here, when I do that, you're going to see we have a certain amount of CPU and power grid available. So we want to get as much of each resource as we can in kind of a balanced way. So let's go to our scans. We wanted base metals and precious metals. Now we can see that there's less precious metals, noble metals than base metals. So we're going to try and get more heads on the noble metals. So let's go to this one first. Let's open that up. Usually I end up with 4. So we're going to find ourselves a nice hot spot here. Precious. Ooh, 253. Look at that. That's actually really good. Let's see if we can find another one here. Shuffle it around. No, it's pretty good. So we're going to put our 4 heads there. But we're not going to submit right away. So we're going to go over to the other one. Open it up. Base metals. And we're probably going to get 3 here. Yep. And you won't be able to get a 4th. But remember, this one's more plentiful. So let's try 4. That seems to be the hot spot there. Now what I'm seeing is we're not getting the same kind of yields. So what I might actually do is drop 1 off of our precious. So we can see here we're getting 24 per hour average. Let's go with 1 day. 400 over the course of a day. So let's drop 1 off of our precious. So you can see here we're getting significantly higher. So we're going to drop 1 off and add 1 to this guy over here. Base metals, so it's going to balance out now. 500, we're good. So let's go ahead and start this extraction. We're expecting 535 over the course of a day. Submit. Go over to our noble metals. 1 day. A little over 500 again. Perfect balance. Start extraction. Submit. And we're good to go. So now I'm going to do the routing on just 1 arm, just so it doesn't take up 15 minutes here. So now, according to our diagram, everything routes through the spaceport. So everything, the extractor, your factories, they all dump into the spaceport, and then from the spaceport to the next step. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to route our extractions to the spaceport. Okay, submit. This guy here, products, route to spaceport. Okay, submit. Now we're going to start doing our factories. We're making mechanical parts. Route to spaceport. This guy is going to be making reactive for base metals. Route to spaceport. And this guy is going to be doing our precious metals from the noble. Install and route to spaceport. Now from the spaceport, everything gets routed out. Open our routes. So we want to send our base metals to this factory. Our noble metals to our precious metals factory. And then they're feeding their product into here. So now we've got our P1 in here ready to go to our advanced. So we're going to grab our P1. So we've got precious metals, sending it to the P2 factory, and reactive metals, sending it to the P2 factory. So now this is a fully functioning setup. We've got our 2 extractors feeding into there, into the spaceport, spaceport to the P1s, back to the spaceport, spaceport to the P2, back to the spaceport. When this guy fills up, we will just launch up to the POCO and swing by and pick it up later. That's it. So I'm going to do one more. You can stop the video now, but I'm going to do one more to walk you through it just to show you. So we've got our extractors going into our spaceport. From our spaceport, we are grabbing our base metals, routing it to our base metal factory. Did I do that wrong? Base metals. Oh, we forgot to set our schematics first. So, mechanical parts, dumping into the spaceport. Reactive metals, dumping into the spaceport. Precious metals, dumping into the spaceport. So now from the spaceport, where our extractors are dumping into, we're going to grab our base metals, put them into the P1 factory to make reactive. Then we're going to grab our noble metals, put it into the P1 factory that's making our precious metals. So now these two are dumping back into the spaceport. So from the spaceport, we are going to grab our second precious metals, put it into the P2 factory, and then our second reactive metals right here, and put it into the P2 factory. There we go, fully functioning setup. And then I would just do the same for the third arm, and then periodically you would check on your spaceport, make sure it's not overflowing, and launch that up to your POCO, swing by and pick it up when you're ready. The POCO has like 3.5 times the storage of your launch pad, so you can actually fill that up for about a month before you have to swing by and pick it up. So there you go, that's Single Planet P2. I hope this has been helpful. A little bit longer than my normal videos. Catch y'all later.